Big, incredible, great news this morning as Mitch McConnell announces that when the Senate resumes session next week, the first item of business will be your second stimulus package. He wants to get a second stimulus package approved, and he says he's going to put all efforts into getting it done next week. This is incredibly great news until you hear the deal points. I think we all need to go to the casino over this one. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Afternoon's LALATE with incredible great news about a new bill from Mitch McConnell that will be the first item of business next week when the Senate resumes session. Incredible great news, but until you hear the deal points, you might be a little confused. Go to the Funnest channel, subscribe, because unlike anyone else, I try to make things very complicated, very simple. And this will be a video in which things are very complicated, and I will try to make them very simple. Also, like this video, because boy, I'm going to give you the most comprehensive analysis of a very strange twist of events today, right now. In this video, I will be going over why Steve Mnuchin's offer was so incredibly good, offer of $1.8 trillion. Why on Friday we were told that certain Republicans said that's a horrible number and we are not going to support it, Republicans in the Senate. Why we were told over the weekend that the reporting was incorrect. Why today we were told that Senate Republicans are going to introduce a new bill next week, but it won't mirror Steve Mnuchin's idea. It'll be smaller. Why the president is unhappy with what Mitch is proposing for next week, and what is really Mitch doing once again. And this is not McConnell versus Trump. That's an hour from now. But this might very well be part one. Let me get to the breaking news. The breaking news today is a new bill. It sounds incredibly great. It sounds incredibly good. It comes less than 24 hours after the Kentucky Senate debate was last night. And Mitch McConnell laughed when asked about second stimulus. He was under fire for not getting any stimulus relief done. Well, guess what he's doing? He's introducing a new bill next week. Now, on first breath, on first hearing this, you're like, this is incredibly great news. It gets better. Mitch McConnell says that his only and single top priority in the Senate when it resumes session next week is to get a second stimulus package approved and to get it to law. Second great item of great news. Then he says the deal items. Well, enhanced unemployment benefits. Good. PPP, all right. EIDL loan. Oh, good. Liability protection, all right. I expected it's Mitch. Money for schools. Oh, really great. Deal amount, $500 billion. That sounds sort of familiar. Wait a second, I'm a little perplexed now. I've heard that number, $500 billion, before. Where have I heard that number before? Oh, yeah. That was that prior bill by Mitch that failed within 24 seconds after being introduced. But, maybe this is a better attempt. Okay, and where are the stimulus checks in this? Where are the stimulus checks in this? Oh, there are no stimulus checks in this. Yes, there are no stimulus checks in this. There's no hazard pay in this. In fact, we don't even know the amount of the enhanced unemployment benefits from a man who was previously giving you $300 as an option for enhanced unemployment benefits. And moreover, my reaction was perplexing when I first heard this. In fact, the White House was not happy. The White House slammed Mitch McConnell within 10 minutes, saying, go big or go home. What does that mean? It's a very sly way of saying that the White House is at $1.8 trillion now, and Mitch McConnell's bill next week is $500 billion. Did I say that right? $1.8 trillion, and Mitch McConnell's at $500 billion. Not even $0.5 trillion. Okay, so what exactly is Mitch doing next week? Let me go over the deal items for you and refocus you right now to realize, is this true? Is this what is this? Well, the deal items are a vague amount for enhanced unemployment benefits, coming from a man who gave you $300 before a week. Vague amounts for PPP and EIDL, very, very vague. No hazard pay. And no stimulus checks. I lost you on no stimulus. You're like, okay, I'm putting down the phone. I don't want to hear any more about Mitch's darn bill. I got it. Well, then that makes me turn to the following line of questioning, which I'm about to say. When asked about the situation over the weekend, Larry Kudlow was asked by CNN, there's all these reports out that, LALATE has been reporting on that say that there's a bunch of 20 Republican senators who don't want to do 1.8 trillion, are furious at the number. They include Lee, who's that wonderful senator who actually is in the Senate building today with COVID-19 positive readings just a few days ago, and is actually in front of Judge Barrett. I just crazy. In a Senate that was closed because of him, but he's still there. There's Lamar Alexander, who's retiring, and there's Miss Blackburn, and there's another one or two. They apparently called the Trump administration on Friday and Saturday and spoke to Mnuchin, the Meadows, and Trump and said, I hate your 1.8 trillion, and we're not doing it. And now Mitch McConnell suddenly has a $500 billion bill. Sound a little bit ironic. Now, is this also perhaps just a game of optics? Is it a game of false narratives? Is it a game of, I'm doing something for you, but I'm really not? If you're going to ask my opinion, absolutely, categorically, yes. Mitch McConnell was under fire last night for not doing anything for stimulus. And if you've been with this channel for a few weeks or a few months, that Mitch McConnell is very good with the publicity game. He is very good with saying, I'm doing a bill. Aren't you excited about my bill? I'm doing a bill. Aren't you excited about my bill? He introduces the bill. It's really bad. And 20 minutes later, it's dead. And then he's like, 2 weeks later, I have another bill. Are you really excited about my new bill? Oh, it's dead as well. This will be the third bill that Mitch has introduced, and presumably the third bill that dies in 20 seconds. Now, at $500 billion, I don't know who's supporting this bill. It's not the White House, and it's actually quite horrible that Mitch McConnell would have shut the Senate down and is now reopening it to do a bill which is exactly contrary to what the White House is doing. When the full Senate returns on October 19th, our first order of business will be voting against I changed that word by accident, voting again on targeted relief for American workers, which includes more funding for PPP. And I made some news today. This is him talking. We're going to go back to the floor next week, again with a proposal more narrowly tailored with significant amount of money. I can remember when $500 billion was real money. I'm going to be trying next week one more time. I want to give our friends on the other side more chances. Do you really think the Democrats are going to agree to $500 billion when they're not agreeing to 1.8? I mean, come on. This is why you need term limits. This is called delusional. President Trump fumed at this and tweeted, stimulus go big or go home. A.k.a. Mitch, go home. McConnell continued, unless Democrats block this aid for workers, we'll have time to pass it because it will proceed as planned. Republicans do not agree that nothing is better than something for working families. Americans' peoples need Democrats to stop blocking bipartisan support. Bipartisan support is not at $500 billion. Bipartisan support is the problem solvers at $1.5 trillion. Secretary Mnuchin and Chief of Staff Meadows are right. There's no excuse for Democrats to keep blocking paycheck protection and other coronavirus continues. Again, he's now misquoting even the White House. Oh my God. I mean, you have Pelosi on one side who's misquoting Maxine Waters, and on the other side you have McConnell now misquoting Mnuchin. Last month, 52 Republicans voted to pass hundreds of billions of dollars, healthcare, safe school, and unemployment benefits, but they also voted not to give you stimulus checks. Republicans had the votes to pass all this relief, but Senate Democrats chose to filibuster it dead. So we're going to try it again. He issued a very, very long statement, which I'm not going to go over. But the question is whether or not this will be much of anything. The last time he did this, he got a 53-47 majority, but the last time he did this, he was trying to hold on the Senate Republicans holding a majority of the Senate. But will they really do that? What's ironic is that this is just playing into the fake narrative. As you sit here today, the great news is that Steve Mnuchin has an incredible deal offer on the table. The great news, as we refocus away from Mitch McConnell and his silliness, is that you have an incredible deal here. Steve Mnuchin, stimulus checks, $1,200. Individuals, adult dependents, $1,200, higher than Temple of Doom. If you're on SSDI, SSI, Social Security, $1,200 stimulus checks. First time anyone has done that in this round of negotiations. Temple Doom, she's down. She's not giving a full $1,200 stimulus check to adult dependents. This is incredibly great news. You didn't get a stimulus check in the first CARES Act. This time you are. How about children? Even more. The president's at $1,000. Temple Doom, $500. So, you have now really almost three groups. You have McConnell, no stimulus checks, Pelosi, watered down stimulus checks, and Trump, a really good offer for stimulus checks. Suddenly, instead of a strange twist of events, the only one that's making sense for stimulus checks is Trump. Now, then we go to enhanced unemployment benefits. What is Mitch going to be doing next week? We really don't know. Is it going to be $300 a week? I bet you it is. The man has never done anything but $300 a week. He did it last time. So is he just reintroducing the same bill he did last time? Perhaps. Where's Pelosi? Too high. $600 a week. Where's Mnuchin? Exactly right. $400 a week. Will Mitch be retroactive? Oh, probably not. Is Pelosi? Yes, to September 5th. Is Mnuchin? Yes, to September 12th. Where should they all be retroactive to late July? But ultimately, Mnuchin works because he's taking it out further. He's taking it into January, mid-January. Is Mitch going to do that? Oh, probably not. Mitch is probably going to end it in December. Where's Pelosi? She's taking it to January. So Mnuchin is still very, very good. Now, the problem solvers was going to give you a second stimulus check in March. Is Mitch giving you what we call a third stimulus check? Is Mitch going to give you an extra stimulus check? No, he's not going to give you a single stimulus check. Is Pelosi? No, she's not giving you two stimulus checks. Is anyone giving you multiple stimulus checks? Only the problem solvers. And who has co-signed the problem solvers bill so far? No one. Mnuchin has done his own version, which doesn't have it in there. Now, Mnuchin has EIDL grants, EIDL loans. Pelosi has EIDL grants, EIDL loans. Does McConnell have grants? We don't know. He talks a lot about PPP. It's times like this you wonder what's going on. And it's times like this that you wonder if there's really a fake narrative. On Friday last week, I detailed those 20 Republicans who called up and said, we hate your $1.8 trillion. If you do that again, we're going to block you. Lamar Alexander, who's a Republican from Tennessee, allegedly said last Friday, there's no appetite right now to spend the White House's number or the Speaker of the House's number. John Barrasso, Republican out of Wyoming, also said it's an enormous betrayal of our supporters, the Republican offer from Mnuchin. Then Marsha Blackburn, Republican out of Tennessee, said this would give Pelosi a win and would absolutely throw our party under the bus. And then Mike Lee said you will lose all your Republican seats in the Senate if you support Mnuchin's bill. These were the people who allegedly called Meadows, Mnuchin, and Trump on Friday saying, we're not doing this. By Sunday, Larry Kudlow was asked about this. By Sunday, Larry Kudlow was asked, is there a whole group of Republicans who are just nuts? I mean, that's generally what the question was. Is there a bunch of Republicans who are just nuts that don't want to give stimulus to people? And Larry Kudlow says, I think Republicans in the Senate put up in their own bill a few weeks ago and got 53 votes. I think it was so united. But I think if there's an agreement from Mnuchin, it can be reached by other Republicans. Well, CNN's Jake Tappers thought that was not a responsive answer to his question. So he said, Larry, I'm not asking you about your friends. I'm asking about the entire Senate of the Republicans. He says, well, I'm not talking about your Democratic friends, said Tapper. I'm talking about the 20 Senate Republicans who were mad at Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin and saying the proposal of $1.8 trillion was too much. Larry Kudlow came back and had no response again. So apparently, if you see the, chain of events, perhaps the reporting was correct. Which causes us a lot of concern now. You have a Republican group in the Senate who are delusional, that are undermining the president's attempt to get this done. President's at 1.8. They're coming at 500 again. They're excluding stimulus checks. They're excluding a lot of stuff. They're doing stuff that, there's no airlines. There's no, there's just a lot of stuff that's just gone. And so ultimately, what is Trump supposed to do? Executive order? Yeah. I mean, at this point, you have Pelosi stuck at 2-2, which she'll be stuck at 2-2 to next year. You have a bunch of Senate Republicans who think they can get reelected at 500 billion, and then you have Trump at 1.8. I want to explain to you why this is happening, because I know you're going to ask me that question. Why is this happening? And I'm going to explain to you the end result of what it means for you. What it means for you is the following, that basically, when you have people at 1.8 trillion and you have others that don't want to support it, that what you get is a bunch of Republicans in the Senate who think they can be reelected by looking like they're doing something. Mitch McConnell's trying to make himself look like he's doing something so that he can get reelected. Republicans in the Senate are under fire for not focusing on stimulus. Well, guess what? They're going to introduce a really bad bill next week, and they're going to make it look like they're focusing on stimulus. They're not. They're just like, it's like, going to the department store and looking in the window but not actually buying. I'm here to look at clothes, but I'm not here really to buy clothes. And you go home and your mom's like, I told you to go buy some new shoes for school. She's like, well, I just went and looked at the shoes. Well, that's not what I told you to do. Then you have the Temple of Doom. And the Temple of Doom's plan is really going to hurt everyone. It's going to hurt Biden more than it's going to hurt anyone else. New reports on Wall Street today say that Wall Street has embedded into stock trading the expectation of a Biden win and a Senate Democratic blue sweep. But the problem is that under Pelosi's plan, you wouldn't get stimulus until March next year. Why? Because no one in this group is going to approve anything she wants until they come into office in January. And by the time the bill is passed and the stimulus is approved and the stimulus is routed to you, you won't get it till March. And by then, this economy won't look like how it looks now. It'll look a lot worse. And so what do you think about this? Well, what you must think at this point is that we've been told a lot of stuff, and what we have been told is not exactly what has come out. You had 1,900 incredible comments from yesterday. Let me go over some of them. Pamela, she needs to take her fingers out of this. She's not about her. It's not about her. Norika, we're in the United States. We're in the United States, not the divided states. Alice, they need to get rid of her. Cliff, they should all be in prison. Michelle, it's just another depressing hopelessness. DJ Frankie Gee, if I were president, I'd make sure that everyone got $3,000 a month. William, voting these fools out imminently. Andre, we need stimulus ASAP. Sandy, is Trump going to sign the executive order or what? Gil, let her done Trump. Let's get serious. Pelosi's facing backlash after rejecting Trump's latest stimulus offer, says it's beyond. Patsy Welsh, sorry, I just don't see them coming to an agreement. Kim Roach, I do believe Nancy is the one-eyed hornet flying purple power eater. I love that comment. What's important to understand is that we had a really good path just about an hour ago. We were on a really good path. You had a $1.8 trillion bill. It was really good. You started on mornings at LALATE and 28 with Democrats coming out and telling Pelosi accept the 1.8, slamming the Pelosi for not accepting 1.8. You had me going through the deal provisions of why 1.8 is really good. And then you had Mitch McConnell saying, okay, we're going to reopen the Senate. We're going to focus on stimulus relief. All good until you hear Mitch tell you the deal items. Guess what? We can do that horrible bill we did before. And there's going to be no stimulus checks in there. It's going to be a lot of money for big business. You see why the Republicans are just in a mess, a real hot mess express unto themselves right now? The problem is that they really cannot keep their discussions consistent. We had that incredible press statement issued by Mnuchin and Meadows over the weekend that never do that said, hey, we have a really good bill. And then you had the press game that was being done very well by Mnuchin, said, hey, here is our offer. And then you had the NBC News report that said, okay, here are all the deal items for your stimulus, all really good. And then you had momentum. You had the Democrats slamming Pelosi. And suddenly, if you had all the momentum building up, then came McConnell. saying, you know what? Who wants 1.8? I have $500 billion and can protect businesses, and who cares about American families? It's times like this that you just want to shake your head. Ultimately, a lot of stuff to filter through. And coming up next on Hazard Pay, I will be going through these details and more because, boy, there's a lot of twists and turns. This is why you need 2 hours of programming every afternoon. Go to the front channel, subscribe, because I'm trying to keep it simple and trying to keep it informative and trying to keep it clear for you. Also, like this video. As always, next up is Continuation Check with Hazard Pay, with the big developments about this latest twist and turn from McConnell. Boy, after that is McConnell versus Trump in the time slot where unemployment benefits are, and I'll be going over the incredible deal offers from Mnuchin, and then finally Pelosi versus Trump. Is there hope to get back onto focus with the 1.8 trillion, or is Mitch going to derail the entire focus of the stimulus negotiations now once again? As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay in LA for more.